Hey you guys, it's your girl AJ, the Glamour Witch, and I am back for another video. Okay, I am having my wash day, so that's why all this is the way it is, but I had to get this video out because we already talked about Lucifer Powder, we talked about the witch's hand, I talked about the night honey, and I told you guys that I was gonna come on here and finally share with you my Lucifer Powder recipe. Now, I have it listed here as Lucifer Powder because I want you guys to be able to find it, but I have to tell you, this is my version, and it is not Lucifer Powder in its traditional form. There are certain types of psalms and prayers that are prayed over Lucifer Powder that give it a different element, and I'm going to be using some traditional and also some non-traditional ingredients that will completely change this, and that is why it is actually going to be called the Veilbreaker Dust. This is just as effective in humbling a proud and arrogant heart, getting people to confess the truth and expose lies, expose deceit. It shuts down manipulation. It forces the truth to surface, true emotions, the truth to surface. And it also helps you to be able to identify what's going on, even when in your physical realm, it's not presenting a certain way. You'll get insights from behind the scenes, whether through your dreams or visions or other types of omens that will help you find out what's really going on. So this is a completely different vibe. It has a Lucifer Powder spin, but it is a completely different energy. And so I just want to put that out there. The traditional practices are more rooted in hoodoo, and there are some other steps to the prayers, but this is all my creation and my making. And I wanted to make sure that it was something that everybody from all backgrounds, especially people who are not practicing hoodoo, could in fact use this recipe in their practice and have just as much of success with it as they would have if they were to craft their own Lucifer Powder. So I just wanted to come on here and say it's not false advertising. I know that the video says Lucifer Powder, but it is the Glamour Witch's version, okay, of Lucifer Powder. And I considered changing the name, but I already talked about it, and I didn't want you guys to be like, oh, where's the Lucifer Powder? She said she was gonna post it. This is the video, okay? This is the Lucifer Powder video. It's just not traditional, and so we're not gonna call it that for the rest of the video. It's gonna be called the Veilbreaker Dust, okay? And I also want to just give a disclaimer here that this is a very potent blend and should not be used casually or for simple little silly things. If you're gonna do that, I would just go a different route. This is for exposing lies and being okay with the consequences of exposing those lies, right? Especially when you know that something is unfair and unjust. It's not gonna hold punches with nobody, okay? So if you wanna learn how to do that, just keep watching. Like I said, this is not a traditional version, but it is very effective. You're gonna see me add some ingredients in here that have some very potent magical intention and energy, but there is one ingredient specifically that is a very, very unique element and added addition to this work that I feel takes it to the next level and that has brought me a lot of success. And this is why I'm saying you don't want to just play around with this. You do need to be very, very intentional with this work because it can have some very shocking effects, and it's a very undeniable energy that comes forth when using this. So I'm going to walk you through it, and then we're going to talk about what you can do with this powder.
All right, everyone. So I'm just gonna go over what we have, the ingredients, and then I will let you know as I'm making it what their intentions are. So first we have sulfur. I have the sulfur pellets, cayenne pepper, or if you have a chili pepper, brick dust. We're gonna use a piece of charcoal. This is dragon's blood resin, garlic powder and onion powder, white sugar, and our secret ingredient is black crow feathers. These are imported crow's feathers from England, as they are not legal to sell here in the US. Obviously, if they fall to the ground, you know, it's free game, it's nature, but to buy them in the US, you do have to purchase from somebody outside of the US to get crow's feathers. So these are crow feathers from outside of the United States that have been imported, and these are legal to buy, but they are also not American crows. I'm gonna just go into making this so that I don't have to stop myself to talk to you guys, because I'm actually making myself a new batch. So I'm gonna be doing this work for myself, and so you'll hear all the extra stuff in the voiceover, but I'm gonna dive in. Also, I have 2 black candles here, and I'm going to be anointing them with protection oil. And this is just to support me in the work and to protect my energy as I'm doing this working, and to help me really focus in on that vibration that I'm trying to call in without any interference from any outside energies.
All right, so I'm going to cleanse these candles with some Florida water, and I'm going to anoint them with the protection oil. This is just going to help me be able to have a very cleansed and sterile environment to protect my energy, my focus, my vibration, because this is a really, really strong magical ingredient that I'm making, and I just want to safeguard my energy so that I don't sway left and right and get caught up in unnecessary energies and vibrations. The energy's been a little bit scattered lately. I don't know what's going on astrologically, but we are coming up on that Venus retrograde and that Mercury retrograde in the month of March. And I can already kind of feel that. And I also can feel the tech shit happening. So again, this is just so that I can have some clarity in my mind. I highly recommend that you guys make this before things just start getting real foggy and real crazy. So I'm going to light them up, and I'm going to do a little pyrokinesis here because the flames are a little low, and just bring some more energy into the candles. So I want to talk about crow feather and why I am doing it as the very first ingredient, why I'm using it in this Veilbreaker Dust. This is a element that I feel takes this work to a higher level, and also this is a reason why this is not a traditional Lucifer Powder ingredient, right? The crow is a messenger between realms. They are able to see through illusions. They are able to tap into higher perspectives. They have a bird's eye view. They're highly intelligent creatures. They're also highly connected to trickery and cunning, and they're connected to the goddess Hecate. Lucifer powder is such a strong magical ingredient to help pull away illusions. When working with the crow can see not only what is being physically presented in this realm, but what's happening on the spiritual side. So this adds another layer to the work, which will allow you to get messages, maybe in your dream state, visions, that will give you insights even when things in the physical are presenting a certain way. So this is an added benefit for you. It gives you a leg up, right? It allows you to be more tapped into the messages. And I can tell you right now, this magic is so potent when adding it into the work. Crows are such magical creatures, and they are really protective, and they bring very strong omens. And when you're crafting this veil breaker, you also want it to have an impact on your target that goes beyond just the physical, breaks through the veil, and goes deep into their subconscious, allowing this magic to reach them in depths that, stereotypically wouldn't. And when we're talking about doing Lucifer powder on people who are prideful, who have big egos, who are narcissistic, who are maybe shrouded in security, and that's what's keeping them in their power, this will be the thing that breaks it down and gets past all of those barriers to a deep core part of them that shakes loose the truth and exposes it and brings it to the light of day. So if you don't want to use this element, if you don't want to use crow's feather for whatever reason, you don't have to, but it is something worth investigating, and it's something worth adding. So how we're using this is we're actually using the ashes. Because we're making a powder, it has to be the ashes, right? We're transforming it to bring it into the higher realms. When we burn petitions, when we burn items, we're sending the essence and the spirit of that thing into the spirit realm. So we are going to be burning these feathers and then incorporating their ash into the powder. Now we are adding in sulfur. Sulfur breaks illusions, destroys pride, and clears away falsehood. It is a harsh but effective ingredient for exposing deception and bringing somebody down from an elevated and undeserved position. Especially if it's an elevation of the mind, it really blasts through that. Next is red brick dust. Now, this is a really important ingredient because it forces somebody to confront reality instead of living in a fantasy, right? It makes the truth come out and hit them like a ton of bricks, literally, right? So, and it can also be a spiritual barrier against manipulation and deception for you as the individual, or making it impossible for their manipulation and their deception to penetrate through this barrier. Next is our cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper and chili powder, if you want to use that, burns away delusions. It speeds up the results of this magic, and it forces uncomfortable truths to surface. If you're going to add chili powder, it can also add this kind of extra layer of harshness, which ensures that those who are trying to deceive you face the full force of their own actions. Next is black salt. Black salt removes negative energy, it breaks down false security, and it makes it impossible for lies to remain hidden. Garlic powder repels tricksters, banishes falsehoods, and forces liars to expose themselves. And because of this is why garlic is traditionally used in this work, because it is known to protect against betrayal and deceit while driving out those who seek to manipulate. This is why it's a very important part of this work. Onion powder reveals hidden layers of truth, makes it impossible for deception to maintain, and forces raw emotions to surface. And again, there's a long history in folk magic for onion being great for uncovering secrets and forcing honesty. Now we're adding in sugar. This sweetens the bitter truth, okay? Sugar is added traditionally into Lucifer powder, and it is added here in this work as well because it lures people in, it sweetens their disposition, and it allows their guard to come down so that the truth can penetrate deeply. It also has this other element that kind of almost helps them to digest the lesson when it comes to being exposed, so that the person faces reality without dismissing it outright. This is a really important part of this work, and it should not be taken out or removed. Dragon's blood is going to amplify this magic. It's going to intensify the effectiveness of the work, intensify the other magical ingredients in this powder. And again, it's something that I wouldn't take out too. There's also an added a fiery protective element that protects this work so it can penetrate deeply. But again, I'm adding this as a little booster, a little extra kick, and it brings a little bit more speed to the results. Our last ingredient is the charcoal powder, and this is for absorbing all the false energy. It clears away spiritual residue from manipulation, and it ensures that once the illusions are destroyed, they cannot be rebuilt. Now, I am going to just continue to push energy and prayers into this, more magic into this working. I do have an incantation, and I will share that with you guys, but feel free to kind of make your own. Again, this is not a traditional Lucifer powder, so my incantation is going to be different than what you might find online. And it goes like this. Tear down the veil, expose all disguise. Let falsehood crumble, let pride be undone. Under my gaze, deception shall run. Brimstone and shadow, fire and air. Strip away lies, lay all souls bare. No truth concealed, no trick shall remain. By my command, illusions are slain. Reveal the truth. Let none be unnamed. As I speak, so it must be. By this fire, let all things be seen. This may not be a traditional Lucifer powder, but I promise you, it is very effective. All right, you guys, so there you have it. How you use this powder is going to really depend on what kind of magical ritual that you're doing. If you're doing candle magic, you might sprinkle it around the candle, you might roll the candle in it. If you're doing like a skull candle and you're wanting to do a head working, you might put the powder inside of the head working. There's a lot of different ways to incorporate it, but it is a powder. So think like money powders, glamour magic powders, beauty powders, love powder, you know, it's something that you add into the ritual. It is not the ritual itself, though it does have a lot of really powerful energy. You can also sprinkle this into some oil and like make it a oil, and then use it on other things and anoint certain things with it. Like if you want to anoint a business or a meeting or a picture of somebody or whatever the case may be, you can do that too. Some of the most traditional ways that I've seen Lucifer powder used is also in tracking, foot tracking work. And it basically means that people will sprinkle it where they know that the target is going to walk and they pick up that energy. Something to keep in mind when doing this is like, just know that if you're gonna do that, you need to make sure that you're specifying that this work goes to that specific target. And the best way to do that is to write that person's name down on a piece of paper 9 times and then create little strips of that paper. So you have like 9 strips of paper with their name on it. Burn it and turn those ashes into a powder, and then mix the Veilbreaker's dust into the mix with all of the ashes, so that the sprinkling of that will only target the person who you are trying to influence. I think too, the best way, if there's a group of people, then just do candle working, because then you don't have to worry about any of that. But I have to just do another little conversation about this because it is very intense. Here's an example. If you're doing this to expose somebody who is being abusive, like let's say you have a friend or someone that you love and care about who's being abused by their partner, right? And you can never get the truth to come out because they always really hide the abuse very well, or people are protecting them, but you know that this person is being abused and you want the truth to come out, right? You can do this working for them to expose them and to make it so strong that it's undeniable and everyone will see the truth, not just you and not just the person who's being affected, everybody around them, right? Will make an irreversible exposure of the truth that cannot be rebuilt. The manipulation, the lies, the games, the trickery, whatever, all the tactics that were once used will not be able to, you know, be successful any further. Like they're literally going to have to make a life change, and it's very dramatic. But when we're talking about using this on other people, we do have to ask ourselves, we need to make sure that there's protection involved, right? Like if I were to do it for somebody like that, then I also have to recognize that there are other people that might be affected by that person. So if your friend is being abused and that friend has somebody, you know, else connected to them, a family member, a child, you know, maybe even their business, their livelihood, you know, their home is set up around this individual, you need to make sure that you're doing protections on your friend and all of the things that they value, right? In terms of, aside from this person, right? To make sure that they're okay, because it's going to affect anything that is explicitly standing in the way of the truth coming out. And if your friend is also hiding the details, it's gonna expose that they've been lying too. It's very thorough. It touches every corner and it reaches in there and it pulls the truth up from the surface and it drags motherfuckers out kicking and screaming. It doesn't care about your feelings. And that's why I'm saying, if you're gonna do this on somebody who needs support, make sure that you protect them first and then do that working with the powder. Last but not least, don't do this casually, but you can use this to bring somebody's true feelings for you to the surface. If you have somebody that you're not really 100% sure if how they really feel about you emotionally, you can use this to bring those feelings to the surface if they're fighting those feelings, or if you just need to know if they're being vague, you can use it for that. You can also use it to protect you from people's like manipulation and their like way of charming you, especially if you are known to maybe succumb to their charms, usually, especially if it's like a friend or a past person or even a child who knows how to play on your emotion. You can use this powder as a way to protect you from that, so that the truth is exposed and you're able to get to the bottom line of what's going on. So there are little ways to like reincorporate it from different angles, and you can be creative with that. But I just wanted to give that information in this video. Comment down below, let me know if you are interested in using this powder, if you're going to work with it in your practice, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you so much. Like and subscribe, and take care.